Hello everyone, my name is Akir and welcome to my Java tutorial. In this video we are going to talk about classes and variables. A class is the file we write code in. You could write your code in one class file in case there isn't much code, or for practice purposes if you wanted to. But for most cases in Java, it is a really good idea to separate your code using multiple classes to organize your code in a logical way. It helps you keep track of your program and works well in a shared work environment when people are working together, as each individual is working on one or more of their own classes. So, if we create a game, for example, it would be nice to have separate classes for every main component in a game, such as heroes, enemies, world, and physics. Also, a class can inherit from a different class or implement features to get more or to expand functionality. Very often, a class is used especially as a building plan for creating objects. We will talk about objects in one of our next tutorials. When you design your program layout, you need to think about how you plan your classes in a way that makes sense, by deciding generalizing key features of each element you use. Programming, the order and understanding are crucial, and many times harder than writing the code itself. It is recommended to think and plan prior of writing code, and only write when you fully understand what it's supposed to do. There's no point of sitting in front of the code without those things, which remind me of the following scene.
All right, Phoebes, I am ready for my first lesson.
Okay. Oh, no, you don't touch the guitar. No. First you learn here, then you learn here.
Okay.
Okay, lesson 1, chords. Now, I don't know the actual names of the chords, but I made up names for the way my hand looks while I'm doing them. So then, this is bear claw. Okay, turkey leg, and old lady.
What an interesting approach to guitar instruction.
As we saw with our game, we decided in our heads that enemies are different than heroes in their actions, movements, physics, and other functionality. Therefore, we separated them into individual classes. However, they also have a few things in common, such as size, color, name, etc. So perhaps both enemies and heroes should inherit from a more general class that will contain their common features. We could create a class named character that will contain the common features that both enemies and heroes classes can inherit from. And by doing that, it will save us time, as we don't need to repeat ourselves writing the same things in these two classes or in classes future to come. If we ever want to add characters like turtles or dogs, for example, then we could make them inherit from the character class as well, and that would be a much better implementation. But for now, we are not going to get much into inheritance yet. It's not that complicated though, and I will cover it more thoroughly when we get there. Dividing into separate classes will also be easier for you and others to understand what does what, and would make things easier to debug in case of an error. So keep that in mind. For now, let's start writing in a single class file and build our way up to the separating classes principle later on. We still have our test class from the previous lesson. Let's delete it and create a new one. We will call it variables, as we are going to practice on variables. But you can name it anything you like. A very common convention in Java is to name our classes with capital letters at the beginning. So let's put our main method inside it. In short, what a method does, a method contains coordinate and which has a certain job. So let's say if you want to write a method to calculate some numbers, you could write all the calculation in the method, and many times you can make the method accept some data from outside, process that data and bring you back an answer. But many times it's very easy to use methods because you can just call them later. For example, if you declare the method called calculate and wrote everything that the method's supposed to do in the code inside it, you could just call it by mentioning the name calculate. I will further my explanation about what a method is in the rest of the tutorial. By the end of the tutorial, you will be very familiar with what a method is and how to use it. For now, we are going to create a very familiar, well-known method called the main method. The main method, in case you are not familiar with it, is a method we can test and run our code in. Think of it as our control panel to check if what we wrote in other classes work. But we also can write and practice in it for now, for simplicity's sake. So this is the declaration of the main method. Now let's create some variables and put it in it. In Java we can store data in variables. Every variable has a data type and we can store the corresponding data in it. For example, we can store whole numbers in an int variable. So let's declare an int variable named x and store the number 5 in it. Now let's declare a string variable named world and put hello in it. We also declare a double variable and put 2.4. Now we can print them on the screen. And to do that, we will call a method called systemoutPrintLine. This method prints a message that we write to it or a variable, and after it's printing it, it's gonna go down a line. There is also the method systemoutPrint without the ln at the end, which prints something, and then if there is another output to print, it doesn't go down a line. Let's see the example. Let's try to do some arithmetic calculations, like multiplying our int and double and print the result. Now let's subtract 1 from the result. Notice that our result, if we decide to keep it, is not a whole number, so we need a double type variable to store it. Now let's work out the print command and make it output things in a more user-friendly way. The systemoutPrintLine command prints things on the screen. You could write anything you wanted to print in commas, but also you could print the content of the variables by just typing the name of the variables. But in these situations, when you want to print when we want to print the result in a friendly way, so we need to write the result is and then print the variables itself. So how do we do that? In order to combine our message with the variable itself, we use the plus sign, like this. Okay, great. Now let's crank this up a notch. We save a 3-digit number in an int variable. Let's say 321. So we need to reverse this 3-digit number, so the output will be 123. So what will we need to solve this? I can give you a small clue. You can use division and modular to get it done. If you want some time to think about it, pause the video right now and try it yourself. Okay, so we are going to do it together. We can isolate these numbered digits one at a time and save them, Then connect the numbers back in the right order and print them on the screen. But what if you want to save a new reverse number to a variable rather than printing it directly onto the screen? Let's create a new variable and call it resultNum and store our new reverse number inside it. To do this, we can multiply our last number by 100 and add it to the result. Multiply our midnum by 10 and add it as well, and add the first num as it is. Now the number 1, 2, 3 is saved in the resultNum int variable. But imagine we would need to do that again with a different number, or maybe we have to reverse 10 or 100 numbers like this. That will be quite exhausting. So instead of doing it this way, we can write a method to help us out. And each time we will want to reverse a number, we could just call it and provide the number to reverse, and it will return us the reversed number. We will do that in our next tutorial, which will be all about methods. If you like this video, I would appreciate if you subscribe, give me a thumbs up and write a comment. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.
Hey, listen, so I thought I was getting better, so on my way home today I stopped by this guitar store and...
Did you touch any of the guitars while you were there? Did you?
No.
Give me your hands. Strings. Pick. Pop. Do you want to learn to play guitar?
Yes.
Then don't touch one!